Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Okay. All right. Item 1, Jerry.
On February 22nd, I approved for transit the hiring of Marvin Springer to the position of part-time driver, to be effective February 25th, 2019, at the rate of $14.25 per hour with a 1-year probationary period. The offer of employment was contingent upon successful completion of the required pre-employment conditions.
Okay. Jerry, or Adrian.
Morning.
Okay, today's financials include a supplemental from JFS to appropriate the new accounts within the Child Advocacy Center Fund. And it also, along with that, a cash transfer from JFS from their Children's Services funds to the new Child Advocacy Fund to establish the beginning cash balance. Encumbrances include a travel request from Juvenile Court to attend the Ohio Children Alliance Annual Spring Conference. A then and now from Municipal Court to Stevenson and Wagner LLC for amounts not previously encumbered for appointed counsel fees. A travel request from the Public Defender's Office to attend the Ohio Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers Annual DUI Defense Seminar. And a travel request from the Recorder's Office to attend the Ohio Recorders Association Annual Spring Conference. In the vouchers are $10,207.21 from the Department of Development, Community Development for Great Lakes Growers Revolving Loan for machinery and equipment for the greenhouse operation. And also a $29,565.84 from the Sheriff's Office to Liberty Ford for a law enforcement vehicle to replace a totaled vehicle due to an accident. Which we did get
Insurance.
Corsa insurance,
Okay.
or their insurance money for, so.
Very good.
It wasn't our deputy's fault, so.
Great. Okay. Very good. Any questions, comments?
Looks good.
Okay. If we could get a motion to approve the financials.
That's a move. Second.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye. Thank you, Adrian. Okay. Don Rice, Board Developmental
Morning, Don.
Disabilities.
Good morning, all. How are you?
Yep.
Good. How's everybody?
See you.
Very
Excellent
good.
to see you. Good to see
Morning.
you.
I don't know if I can read, but I will.
Good morning. Good morning.
So,
We're here.
Your
Request.
annual-
Yeah.
Yep.
It's an annual request, and I'm sorry we don't have folks. I got a notice this morning about 8:15 saying, we're not gonna make it out.
Yeah, with this weather and stuff, I don't blame
I
them.
don't blame them.
No.
So we put up a few signs and whatnot, but
For sure.
March is traditionally DD Awareness Month, and so we're asking for a resolution stating such.
very good. So, maybe you could just touch on some of the hard work and services that you're providing there and some of the different programs.
In 2018, we served more than 900 people. Some of the things that we're working on most in the state and the feds are both saying, listen, we need to get folks out into the community rather than a segregated setting. We're out and about. So things are changing in the DD community. We have about 135 people working regular jobs out in the community at minimum wage or above. That's not necessarily full-time, but they're out and doing things in the community, which is really something. Because in 2012, that was 35 people. So we've made a real effort to try to get folks out and about. Right now, the biggest thing that we really do is provide residential care. We have about 205 people that we have on a 24/7 type of service basis. It's something where they're busy getting older and having to have services. Mom and Dad may not be alive anymore. We just had one of our oldest pass away at 92. Obviously, his parents aren't around anymore. It's something where we've had to fill in that hole where those exist. We have quite a few handfuls of 90, upper 80s, lower 90s.
Oh, really?
Just
Wow.
incredible. You go back to the 1980s, you had somebody who lived past 65, that was incredible. Nowadays, they're living longer. We have, just like the rest of us, good lifespans. So that's where we're really spending a lot of our time and energy. We have people who are involved in a lot of things, and I would invite you to be part of Saturday if you have time and you would like to come. We have our carnival on Saturday. Last year we had about 700 people there. And it's a bit of a zoo. There are carnival games in the big gym where you're throwing darts at balloons or rings around posts or those type of things. It's open to the community. Our folks are there. Come and see more of that integration, more of that time when we're getting our folks involved with typical folks just
Mhm.
along with it. So that's what we're spending a lot of our time and energies on.
And as you know, we've been over there quite a few times over the last year and a half or so and visiting with you, and some of the different changes that have happened, coming down from the state and what have, just the model for, you maybe touch on that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Some of the things, and I say it's a dinosaur. We had a facility that was wonderful, and it started off in the 1960s and grew, and by the end of the 1980s, it was what it is today for the most part,
Mhm.
which was a great model back then. That was find ways to provide services. Through 2003, almost everything that happened for people with developmental disabilities happened on our site by our employees. We had 320 employees at that time.
Wow.
And everything happened there. So we had 200 some adults in the workshop, we had around 200 kids in the school, we had everything happening at that site.
Mhm.
Today, starting in 1990 actually, with the IDEA and the ADA, the goal shifted. And the shift was to try to get folks as much as possible out in the community. Kids into public schools whenever possible, folks employed, and that's just evolved since 1990 to the point where we are today, where we have buildings that are now being used differently. Our ICF houses, where we have 4 houses, the state said 40 people is too many. You've got to shrink them. The state really would like it to be under 8, and so we'll probably end up with 1 house left out of the 3. We found a renter to rent one of the houses that is now empty. The other 3 still have our clients living in them, but as we're using nutrition and somebody passes away or somebody leaves the house, we'll close the front door and eventually we'll get down to 1 house and we'll find a renter for the other houses to do something with.
Mhm. And how does this change your budgeting now? I mean, obviously the services have changed, but it's,
Yeah, we're paying outside vendors. We're at 106 employees right now. We were at 320 back in 2003. So it's no longer our folks that we're hiring, we're paying outside folks. Our budget, since we're serving more folks, is still there, still
Mhm.
growing. It's just different that it's not our employees. If it was our employees, potentially it'd be even higher,
Mhm.
because we have significant benefit packages that kind of go along with it. But because we're using outside vendors and following the state plan to use the outside vendors, we've been actually able to save some. So that's where we've been moving. Where we are today is pretty close to where we'll be finishing up.
Mhm.
From what we can envision with the major changes. Things have kind of settled down with the major changes. The major changes really started around 2003. The biggest changes started since 2010.
Mhm.
So we're in the middle of that, kind of let things flow through, get folks out, support people in the community. Our budget's become more of a contractor,
Mhm.
less of an employer. In 2003, 2004, our payroll numbers were over $8 million. Today, we're around $4 million. It's just,
Do you ever
but
foresee
the
that?
contracting goes the other way. It's
Do you ever
from low to high.
Do you ever foresee that facility being, completely empty there besides the administrative, or no?
No, there will still be things like early intervention, the 0 to 3 population.
Okay.
Will still be served there. There
School.
will probably still be 1 house that's used for residential for our folks.
Mhm.
Much of it, like we've been letting this senior folks and some of the other folks, the
Mhm.
main building is being used by a variety of sources right now. Geauga ESC runs some preschool classes there. Geauga ESC rents space from us, pays us about $40,000 a year to rent some of the front space. We have, the Department of Aging is using the gym for pickleball,
Mhm.
Monday through Friday, first thing in the morning before noon time. And then water aerobics have been going on in the pool setting. We're renting some of the workshop to an outside company. They actually hire a couple of our folks, but they're using some of the workshop space that's empty. We have another, Our Lady of the Wayside is renting an office space there. If you've seen Our Lady of the Wayside vans running around, that's
Mhm.
one of our contractors.
Have
Rather
you
than
have you
us-
met Dave Favorite,
I have.
Economic Development?
Economic, yes.
I don't know if you've had a chance, Dave, to stop in there and.
We did, yeah.
Did you? Okay, that's a pretty exciting little company that's startup. What is it? The 3D printing fiber?
Filament.
Yeah.
Filament is the name of the company.
Yeah.
They make 3D printing. It looks almost like weed eater spools as they run it. It's
Right.
almost weed eater line, and they use it in the 3D printing. So they're one of the suppliers for the 3D printing material.
Well, that's, you know, there's some potential there, I think, maybe as a incubator for, you know, growing businesses there, because obviously we do have the square footage, you know, and also including, you know, some of your clients in there as well, and you know, that could really be a continued benefit. I mean, that company that's operating out of there now is pretty exciting. I would imagine one day they'll probably maybe outgrow that space, hopefully, if they, you know,
That's the hope.
and move on, but, you know, maybe finding the next startup to go in there, you know.
We have room right now. We're working with the Department on Aging. Jessica and I have been talking about potentially, I understand there may be some changing in the facilities here, using some of the workshop space for some Department on Aging program. It's available and it's something that we're working on. It may be temporary, it may be something that becomes long-term, depending on how they wish to use it. But yes, we do have some open space, that we're
Okay.
trying to find ways for people to use it. We see it as a community center. There are deed restrictions, we can't sell it because it was donated by the Bessie Benner Metzenbaum's fund, and if it gets sold, it goes back to the Cleveland Foundation. That's just part of the deed restrictions. So we're finding other ways to use it. But yeah, as I say, it's a bit of a dinosaur. It was built for a program that no longer is the focus.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great location for a lot of good things.
And we're open to a lot of things. We have evening groups. Skip Claypool called me the other day and said, I need something for tomorrow night for 60 people. Do you have room? I said, no, everything's booked at the moment. It's one of those things that if you give us a call ahead of time, we're allowing the buildings to be used in the evening. A lot of times until 8, 9 o'clock at night, they're open and available to be used for meetings. We have meetings rooms and whatnot. So we're opening it up. As long as it's for a community purpose, we're not charging anything.
Great. Well, very good.
Thank you so much.
We have, do you want to grab the resolutions, or Tim? Yeah. Do you want to read this and then get a motion for that? Okay.
Resolution recognizing March 2019 as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. Whereas Ohio's County Boards of Developmental Disabilities were established on October 25, 1967 by the Ohio General Assembly with a mission and purpose to remain as strong as ever, to provide vital support and resources to Ohioans with developmental disabilities and their families. Whereas Geauga County recognizes that developmental disabilities affects more than 900 individuals and their families in Geauga County. Individuals with developmental disabilities, their families, friends, neighbors, and coworkers encourage everyone to focus on the abilities of all people. Whereas an effective way to increase awareness is through active participation in community activities and the openness to learn and acknowledge each individual's contribution through developing policies, shaping attitudes, and offering opportunities for those with developmental disabilities to function as independently and productively as possible, must be fostered in our community. And whereas, as a way to recognize these important goals, this year throughout the state we are focusing on Supports Matter. And whereas we encourage all citizens to support opportunities for individuals with developmental disabilities in our community, that includes full access to education, housing, employment, and recreational activities. Our community recognizes the Bethenbaum Center as Geauga County's program for individuals with developmental disabilities. And now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners hereby proclaims March 2019 as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. Be it further resolved that the Geauga County Board of Commissioners desires that all residents of the county offer their full support to enable individuals with developmental disabilities to live successful lives and realize their potential, such that they can live, learn, work, and play and be active members of our community. We encourage all citizens to recognize that our communities are stronger when everyone participates. Take time to get to know someone with a disability. Look beyond the disability and see what he or she has to offer.
Okay. Motion, please.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Present that, maybe we can get a quick photo
Sure.
there. Yeah.
Gladly.
Yeah.
Sign.
Make it official.
Good job, yep.
Yeah,
That's great.
thank you for everything.
I need to step up.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
All right.
Sorry, thank you. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Don.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, that's good.
Sorry, we don't have a group of folks with us today.
No, that's fine.
Good morning.
Thanks, Shane. How are you, buddy?
So we have a few items on the agenda today. Maybe cover the first three as a group. Item number 4 on the agenda is for the resolution to order the plans for Rapids Road sections A through C in Troy Township, as well as item 5, the resurfacing for Clay Street, sections G through J in Montville and Thompson. That's from State Route, or US 6 to State Route 166. And then our annual pavement striping program would be the third resolution on the agenda today.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just read those together, please.
The County Engineer's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute resolution number 19-33 to order the improvement of Rapids Road CH1 sections A through C in Troy Township. This resolution also requests the Board approve and execute the title sheet for the specifications of the same. Further, this resolution sets a bid opening on Wednesday, March 20th, 2019 at 2:00 p.m. Notice of this bid opening will be advertised February 28th, 2019 on the county website. The County Engineer's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute resolution number 19-34 to order the improvement of Clay Street, CH37, sections G through J in Montville and Thompson Townships. This resolution also requests the Board approve and execute the title sheet for the specifications of the same. Further, this resolution sets a bid opening on Wednesday, March 20th, 2019 at 2:05 p.m. Notice of this bid opening will be advertised February 28th, 2019 on the county website. The County Engineer's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute resolution number 19-35 to order the improvement of various sections of county roads by applying pavement markings for the year 2019. This resolution also requests the Board approve and execute the title sheet for the specifications of the same. Further, this resolution sets a bid opening on Wednesday, March 20th, 2019 at 2:10 p.m. Notice of this bid opening will be advertised on February 28th, 2019 and on the county website.
Motion, please.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Borat?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Romero?
Thank
Thank you.
you. You've got it.
2 more items on the agenda. Item 7 is our request to reject all of the bids for the construction of the steel storage building that were open last week. We got 2 bids. Both of them were in excess of 10% over the estimated cost for that project. Therefore, we're asking your authority to reject those bids, and we'll make an attempt to try this again.
Now, this is round 2.
That was
With
round
that.
2. And then
I
item 8.
remember I went down there and talked to you about this, right?
Yep,
And
yep.
we talked about this, and I think it did seem a little low, I'll just say at the estimate. I believe, and it looks like it's probably, so where do you think the estimate, are you gonna have to change the estimate
We
then? or-
did.
Yeah.
Item 8 on the agenda is to
Yeah.
put it back out to bid at $300,000. And we had originally had a estimate for about half of that a year and a half ago.
Mhm.
About a few months before we went out to bid the first time. And so we thought at that time the estimate was fair and appropriate,
Yep.
but we put it out to bid a little bit late in the year with a consolidated schedule, and several potential bidders said they weren't able to meet that schedule
Mhm.
and didn't submit a bid at all. This year, we went out much earlier with a much more flexible schedule and an improved budget, which we thought was still fair and reasonable. But apparently, the cost of building a unheated storage building is more costly than we anticipated.
Mhm.
So we're going to take a third shot at this.
Do you have any idea of what might be holding it up? I mean, is it just scheduling, or is it the price of materials, or or do you just think you're simply low in your
I
estimate?
mean, we did some polling of various costs across the industry, and it's probably somewhere between where we think it is and where they're bidding it,
Mhm.
but it may just be that they're have enough work to keep them busy and they're not
Mhm.
hungry for that work, so.
Mhm.
Last fall, the steel prices went up for roofs and
They
siding
did,
and things.
well, last spring and last summer and last fall.
They just
yes.
kept going up.
They did come back down, moderately, but
What was the square footage again?
it's 3960, just under 4,000 square feet.
And it's unheated, unfinished floor,
It's a concrete floor.
concrete floor?
Mhm.
And what's the elevation of that?
As far as,
Like the-
the
The elevation of the interior?
The height of the building?
16 feet to the eaves. And it's a 112 roof, it's steel frame, steel sided, steel roof. 60 by 66.
So, it's hard to believe that,
Yeah, at one point we had a building shell,
This is the one you're talking about.
That's
Is this part of this?
Yes.
Yeah.
the full shell package delivered on a trailer for $47,000.
Mhm.
So,
so let me ask you something, is it the problem that it's the bidding process of people having to do like the prevailing wage?
that certainly increases their cost. I think many of the people out there are already paying prevailing wage, so that may not be much of a disincentive, but there are those that, out there that do this kind of work in a non-prevailing wage environment. We wouldn't be able to do that at this price point, so it certainly means that it's going to add some cost to construct a building.
So all the materials that you had was at 40,000,
That was
47,000?
for the shell of the building, the steel and the siding and the roof. And there's still the foundation and the slab work and some of the finishes, but, I mean, I think we're confident. We've seen 2 rounds of bidding, close to the $300,000 price point.
Mhm.
We're gonna give this a third and final try, and,
So that's about 60, at 250,000, that was like at $62 a square foot, which, you know, for a building like that sounds about right. I think maybe a little low, I don't know, but.
I mean,
Yeah.
with no
Yeah.
special, that's no heat, no
It's just a-
AC, no,
the only
Just a storage.
thing in there is we have the hydronic heating in the floor, so it's just PEX tubing
Yeah.
with the
The
Insta
glycol,
heat.
yeah.
Just the Insta heater on the wall, so that's not complicated or very expensive, but
No.
did we have some of the local companies like that?
we solicit over 100
Wow.
potential bidders, and even went and reached out to some local building companies, and we got 2.
Hmm.
So it's hard to say exactly what the motivation or lack thereof.
So if I remember right, you had this budgeted already in your 2019.
We did.
The engineers, yeah. So you're not requesting any more from the commissioners or the general fund? It's you-
No.
Just to
coming out of you.
rebid this out?
Correct.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah. It's amazing that something like that, you think that we
They would jump all over it, yeah. Yeah.
It seemed like that would be the case, but we're getting a different response.
Okay. So if we could get a reading for that.
The county engineer's office is requesting the board reject all bids for the construction of a steel storage building located at 12665 Merritt Road, as all bids submitted were in excess above the 10% of the estimate of the project.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWark?
Yes.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon? The county engineer's office is requesting the board approve and execute resolution 19-36 to order the rebid of the construction of a steel storage building located at 12665 Merritt Road in Clarendon Township This resolution requests the board approve the plans for the same. Further, this resolution sets a bid opening on Wednesday, March 20th, 2019 at 2:15 PM. Notice of this bid opening will be advertised on February 28th, 2019 and on the county website.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner DeWark?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Romero?
Aye. All right.
Let me ask
Good
you a
luck.
question, Shane.
Sure.
So what if somebody was to bid and they'd have, I know like there's a lot of little technical, things that could negate them out of the bidding process when it comes to, how would somebody that's not really experienced in putting bids into the, public atmosphere, how would they be able to get some help? Like, obviously you guys probably don't because they're bidding for you, but like what could a contractor do that's
As far as the
the
documents
application
that
and the
they're required
yeah.
to submit, there's only a few pages that they have to fill out. It's fairly self-explanatory in terms of what pricing and numbers they need to provide and the forms. If they would have any questions on how to fill out the forms, occasionally we do get questions about our bid bond or
Okay.
any of the other documents, but we're asking for subcontractors, bid bond, non-collusion affidavit.
Mhm.
So if they do any kind of work within a public sector, it's
They're
pretty...
familiar with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they simply just do private work, it wouldn't be as familiar to them, but I'm sure that if they're building buildings like this, they would have to have contracts and
You want them to be reputable and have all
correct,
those
and
things
be
in
bonded
place.
and
Yeah.
insured, so a lot of those things are still the same or very similar.
I mean, we hold, I know, talking to you guys and visiting with you, I mean, we hold a pretty high standard in Geauga County, through the engineers, and rightly so, with the roads and,
Right.
when you guys go out, you're very detailed in what you're asking them to do, because we want to make sure it gets done right,
Correct.
right? And I know, it's a little easier when it's, if I was building this building for myself, I probably could get it done for, less money, I'm thinking, maybe, I don't know, I mean, maybe not, but a lot less headache.
We would probably
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
But, these are the quality standards that need to be met and having that insurance and bonding and all those things there, so. It does make it difficult for companies that, they probably just ignore a project like this. They probably just say, look, we'll go off and do something else and, but,
Build the same
Yeah.
building somewhere else for less money and make more profit.
You're right.
Because they don't want to deal with the government
Exactly.
regulations. But that's the cost of doing business as
That's
a,
right.
a
Yeah.
municipal agency.
right.
Yeah. No, and I would think that we have some companies here in this county that are more than capable of doing that, because I know that there are. And,
Yep.
Mhm.
Some of the issue is them being able to get the required insurance that we
Mhm.
require, as opposed to a private company wouldn't necessarily require the $3 million.
Right.
As I know, Water Resources, we had that issue with some contractors who did smaller work for us that wasn't required to get those numbers. We tried to get them to bid on some bigger projects, and I can't get those
Right.
those numbers.
So are we, so like $3 million, I mean, that's quite a bit, is it 3 million that we have? I mean, are we
I don't know if
kind
we-
of,
yeah,
are we putting ourselves almost out of the game by some of the requirements that we're putting out there, or is that mandated by law?
Well, I think the amount of insurance is comparable to what they would have to do based on the size of the project, but, I
Okay.
mean, I don't think that is a huge part of it. The prevailing wage certainly is a factor. Maybe the lack of familiarity in working on a government project rather than on a private project, where they can have more control over the decisions. But
So explain this to, I'm not trying to take more time, but, so as far as like with this project with the prevailing wage, so let's say we have a local company that does do this kind of work, and the prevailing wage issue comes up. They basically have to have it where it is a union-related job,
Doesn't have to, they don't have to have union employees,
Okay,
but they do have to pay them scale.
okay,
So if somebody was working for a non-union shop as a laborer or as a mason, they would get a pay raise for the duration that they were on that project, and the contractor would be required to prove that they paid their employees scale for the whatever hours they submitted
okay.
for the project. And it happens on some of our road projects, some of the subcontractors that are hired by various paving or other construction company, their subcontractors are non-union, but they're required to pay scale wage for them.
Okay.
And we get, we collect their payroll sheets and verify that, and they have to provide affidavits that they've met those requirements.
So do you think that some of the contractors may think that if they don't have a union shop, that they just automatically are out of the game, or?
They could, I mean, it's not something we haven't faced many times in the roadway side of it. I can't exactly say what a bidder might or might not think, but we deal with a lot of non-union subcontractors, not so much prime contractors, but subcontractors, and
Yeah.
occasionally they'll ask, well, what do I have to do? You have to pay the scale, and you have to send in your payroll.
A lot of the, maybe not on a project like this, but a lot of the little guys just don't even engage, you know what I mean? Just because of even from my business, I sell equipment, I've been asked to bid on, with different bid thing, and it's just there's so much required that it's, by the end of the day, I could have gone and got 3 other deals done by the time I'm done messing around with the one, So I think, some of the smaller companies that could probably throw this building up just as well as, your plugged in contractor, but unfortunately, those are the requirements, and those are the hoops you have to jump through to interact with the county or any government agency.
This project isn't big enough to attract the bigger players, and it's maybe it's a little bigger to
Right.
entice the smaller ones to jump in. So, we don't need a bigger building. We
Right.
don't need a more expensive building. There's not much we can take out of it to make it cost less.
Right.
So it is what it is, and if we're able to get a successful bid this time, we'll move forward. If
Mhm.
not, then we'll have to come up with a different plan.
Yeah, it's hard, because, this is in the wheelhouse of Geauga County, a 60 by 60
Sure.
building. It's like, this is, there's probably,
I know some folks down in the southern part of our county, they would
yeah,
have a good time putting this up.
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
So, we're hopeful that this time we'll do it, and we'll go from there.
Okay,
Okay.
well, thank you. Yes, sir.
All right, gentlemen.
Thanks for your time.
Thank
Yep,
you.
appreciate it.
Bye now.
Okay.
It's
David.
crazy.
Yeah.
Hi, Mike, how are you?
How are you, Mike?
Morning, David, how are you?
Special day, we got the chief building official
I'll
here
tell ya.
today.
Hey, all right.
Couldn't run fast enough. So I'll let Mike explain, but we're here to request permission to advertise for a statement of qualifications for master plan examiner services. And this is our annual opportunity to look at the contract and see who's out there, who's available to perform these services. We have a good program now. We have 3 commercial plan examiners now, but we'd like to look at it once a year and see who's available to us. So requesting permission.
What's the annual compensation for this
They're
job?
basically, whatever they charge is charged back to the permit, so it's really nothing out of the county's pocket.
Got it.
It's all
Okay.
paid for.
Okay.
So it's included in the building permit itself.
Okay.
How's the one that was ill for a while? Is he doing okay?
Pardon?
How's the one that was ill for a while? Is he back on track?
One of our examiners was ill. Who's one of our guys ill?
The one in Chesterland?
One of the building inspectors at Chesterland, was he ill?
Not inspectors, but the plan review.
Oh,
Might have been me.
Neil, yeah. It's all different.
That's it.
But,
He's still doing
yeah. Quite
it.
a-
They're getting up there.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of them out there, so that's why we're trying to expand it a little bit to see
Who we can get, yeah.
It's nice to have multiple ones that way, especially like in the summertime, vacations and stuff. We don't hold projects up, we can
Sure.
pass them off to
Yep,
different plans examiners instead of just one or two.
yep, get them through.
So
Makes
that
sense.
helps us.
Okay.
Okay, get a reading on that.
Department of Development and Building is requesting the board grant permission to advertise for a statement of qualifications for master plan examiner services with responses due March 15, 2019 at 3:00 p.m. Notice of this request for statement of qualifications will be advertised on March 1st, 2019, March 8th, 2019, and on the county website.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Clary?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Yeah, this is strictly for commercial. We do residential in-house.
In-house,
Right
right.
now, yep.
Okay, thank you.
Alrighty,
Very
thank
good.
you.
Have a good day.
Doing a lot of electrical re-hookups,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of storm damage.
Oh,
Oh,
sure.
that, yeah.
Dan told us there were
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Have a good day.
110 calls in this 24-hour period, something,
Well,
How much?
110.
Wow.
Primarily.
lines down and,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know why people call 911 for that, but they do.
It's an emergency.
Well, if it's a hazardous situation, they have to.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, if there's live wires, they encourage
Yeah.
that, but.
All right. You're gonna handle this?
I'm playing
Yeah.
sanitary engineer today.
Yeah, when the sign gets there.
The first item is just a correction from the motion that was approved on February 14th for the engineering technician. We needed to clarify that that needed to be advertised in-house for 10 days for the union contract.
Okay.
All right.
For that correction.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Clary?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Item 11 is for the Ohio Water Development Authority. This is change orders number 5 and 6 for the Bainbridge Trunk Main Project. They've already been approved prior. This is just sending the paperwork to the OWDA for their approval.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner
Aye.
Clary? Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Item number 12 is the pay request refund for number 4 for that trunk main project, OWDA. This is just getting our reimbursement for our loan that we have for that project.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Clary?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
And the next two items are for the Henning Drive project. They're the application for through OWDA for a loan to help cover the costs of that project, and then the authorizing the president of the board to execute the cooperative agreement with OWDA.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Clary?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
So, and that, with the request for the money back, so do we get a check from
Yeah, the state will send the check, and this was, which one was it? That was OWDA, so that was the loan. So then we'll repay the loan over the 20-year period.
Okay.
We pay the contract up front and send the request to be reimbursed for the funds as that comes back and goes over.
So when they send that, will they be sending that to us here, or will that go
No,
to Water Resources?
That will go directly to the treasurer's office. It's an
Okay.
electronic transfer from the state.
Okay. All right. And they'll be aware that that's coming?
Yeah. Yeah, they'll be aware it's coming, and when it comes into the treasurer's office will
Confirmation?
send an email down to Water Resources to do the funding, so that they can transfer the money from their intake fund directly to the funds where it's supposed to.
Okay, fair enough.
For the same
For the
project,
same
it's just the OPWC side will be on next Tuesday.
Okay,
So I have one, two additions.
okay, so item 15, if you want to, Jerry, talk about that.
This is from the Airport Authority. They're requesting $30,000 for some future improvements to the airport for safety issues. They can keep working towards their GPS landing and night landings and takeoffs.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is a situation where, we're continuing to try to work with the airport on this. And, one of the things with the airport that is definitely a plus is that we are operating, in the black, that they actually are covering costs every year based off of the medevac, medevac income that they've got. Plus, it's a great thing for us to have here in the county as far as emergency response, but then as far as hangar rentals and everything. And I think that, this is one obstacle, maybe that this is gonna be going towards the elimination of obstruction, just makes it that much more usable, and hopefully down the road we'll continue to just keep moving in the right direction with the airport.
They make money on the fuel, so.
Right. And I was told that they have, within 2 months, I was talking to Chip, that they will, and I'm not sure if they're gonna come to us for that or not, but they are going to have the credit card available gas, so that 24 hours a day they could sell gas. Because right now, basically, I told them when they met here, they're losing money because people are bypassing them because you got to call somebody at home to come and unlock the gas pump. It's just totally backwards. And so within, I think, 2 months is what Chip told me, that they will have that system in place, and it will allow for fuel, and they're making money on the fuel, so it's a good thing. So.
And then in the future with the night landings and takeoffs, there'll be more traffic in there.
Right, right. And the lights are going in, I think as we speak, they're just about to start too for night approaches, so that'll be good, so.
Real good. Okay.
I have a motion for the
So moved.
approval of the transfer.
Second.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Right.
Commissioner Arnold?
Yes.
One other thing with the airport is, Christie, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have an opening on the board that still needs to be filled
All right.
there, so.
Okay.
Kind of keep that in mind. And
Okay.
one of the things that might be beneficial on that airport board is when we're looking for somebody to fill in, is somebody with more of a business background.
Mhm.
So that they can start really looking at the future and kind of
Right.
looking at a good business plan for continuing the growth of that airport, which I think we want to see, but also with the mindset of it continuing to pay for itself as it grows.
Right, and really to see some opportunities that have been,
Right.
and no blame on anybody, I mean, I think everyone's tried to live within their, budget there and not get outrageous, but there is opportunity there, and if you invest in it, there's potential for return on it, so I think that's been the, kind of some of the things we've identified over the last couple of years, and that board, I think, is realizing it now, that take it, there's some, maybe take it to the next level there.
Right. I think in the past, they've kind of just had their checklist of,
Right.
here's the next thing on our list, let's just do that, rather than kind of looking at, okay, let's look 20 years in the future, and that's
Right.
where we need to go. So.
Mhm.
And I think that, the reality too is that I think that there's been a situation, throughout the years, and I saw when I first even came on board here 6 years ago, that it's almost like, that just kind of gets pushed off to the side, and then, we just move forward. But I think that, there's a lot of smaller airports, smaller counties, not as, per capita dollar value counties, that have some nice little facilities, not elaborate, but like very usable. And I just think that there is, and it's a big part of, Dave Favorite, I mean, he's really been doing a lot of research on this too, there is some value to having a decent airport. We don't need a Burke Lakefront or a Hopkins, but I think serves the county well, and, you know, there's no space. Portage, Geauga, Ashtabula Airport has some space now, but, you know, Ashtabula is an absolute nightmare to begin with as far as financially out there. They're just struggling. But Cuyahoga, there's just nothing around our area for hangar space, for the ability of having facility. There's nothing. So we've got an opportunity to do this, and I think that, you know, I think Tim would probably agree too, from last year when we met with some of the new board people that are there. I think it's kind of going in a direction where it's starting to become more business, you know, directed, and I think that, you know, if three of us also could support some of their measures, I think we could do some good things. So,
Their next meeting is next week, and I believe they're getting ready to hire.
oh, good. That'll be good. So, yeah, so,
He told me the other day, so.
okay.
Very good, okay, so just, we're almost into March, which is great. This winter actually kinda went fast for me,
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Oh, yeah.
Bring on the spring, yeah. But, some March meetings, so the 12th, we'll have our planning commission meeting at 7:30 a.m. as always. So the session will be bumped back to 9:30. NOACA is next Friday, yep. What's
I
that?
just wanna add on the 5th, you also have a solid waste board of directors meeting
Oh, right,
that just got added. It was confirmed yesterday afternoon that it will be at noon.
and that's, so that'll be after our commissioners meeting?
Yes, so
And
on the
then-
5th.
But there,
at
we're going
noon,
there?
Yes, at the district office.
So hopefully that,
And that's where all six commissioners are at?
Yes, and then there will, I also received yesterday afternoon confirmation that the 14th will be at 9 a.m. So you have
Okay.
2 meetings coming up for solid waste.
Okay.
I did send the agendas yesterday as well.
What are the dates on that solid list?
The
The 5th
5th.
and the 14th.
5th and 14th.
One is
Did we receive
next Tuesday, and then the other one is the Thursday, the 14th.
some kind of tentative agreement or between, for the land lease?
I have not seen anything
Not
yet.
yet.
Not yet.
Last I talked to, about maybe a week ago, was, they were still, Craig,
noon.
O'Brien still, Greg O'Brien still had it and was working on it, so.
which one's the
The
14th?
14th is at 9.
9.
Sorry. Yeah, I haven't heard anything more on the lease either, but based on the agendas that I got, personnel issues on the 5th, and then on the 14th was to talk about the building.
Okay. Okay, any other comments or questions? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Very good.